Adventure has a scent. It smells like distant rains and burning fires. In La Paz, Bolivia, I could almost taste it in the air. Restlessness gnawed at me, louder with every passing day. When Carl spoke of the jungle, of hidden tribes and golden rivers, it wasn't a question. It was a calling. Kevin, Marcus, and I, bound not by blood, but by hunger for the unknown. Three strangers with eyes full of stars. Three fools, perhaps. We clung to Carl's stories like they were lifelines. Because hope is a dangerous drug. The jungle swallowed us within hours. No more cities, no more maps. Only trees that bent low as if to listen. The air was thick, the ground alive with crawling things. I was exhilarated. I was terrified. I didn't know the difference yet. The paths Carl promised blurred into endless green. Landmarks vanished. The river twisted like a snake with no head. Marcus coughed blood. Kevin cursed under his breath. Still, I clung to belief, because belief was easier than admitting we were lost. Marcus's feet were open wounds. His spirit bled out faster than his body. Each step was a prayer unanswered. He stumbled, he fell, and still, we dragged him deeper into hell. Kevin's eyes burned with anger. Every misstep Carl made cracked our fragile bond. Whispers of betrayal poisoned the air between us. Still, we trudged forward, too proud, too desperate to turn back. The river loomed ahead, muddy and slow. Carl said salvation lay beyond it. Kevin said it was madness.
No.
I said nothing. Silence sometimes feels safer than choosing sides. The group shattered at the riverbank. Kevin and Marcus turned back towards sanity. I, foolish, stubborn, followed Carl deeper. Not because I trusted him, because I couldn't admit I'd been wrong. The jungle grew darker. The ground swallowed our footprints. The sun became a rumor. Carl muttered to himself. I stopped asking questions. Questions didn't matter anymore. One morning, Carl was simply gone, vanished, like a shadow burned away by cruel daylight. I was alone, truly, horrifyingly alone. Panic is a living thing. It claws at your lungs. It shreds your thoughts. I screamed his name into the indifferent trees. The trees didn't answer. They never do. The river mocked me. I built a raft of lies and desperation. It crumbled beneath me before the current even grew strong. The river took my strength. It didn't have to take my will. Not yet. I crawled onto a muddy bank, broken, breathless. The mud sucked at me like hungry mouths. The insects came next, a feast on rotting flesh that still dared to move. Hunger hollows you out. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It makes promises it never keeps. I ate things I couldn't name. I drank things I shouldn't have touched. Every survival instinct bled into delirium. At night, the jungle spoke. It spoke in the creak of trees, in the distant cries of creatures I never saw. Sometimes it spoke with my father's voice, sometimes with my own. The line between dreaming and dying blurred. My feet became open wounds. The skin peeled like fruit left too long in the sun. Every step was a negotiation between agony and necessity. Stop and die. Move and maybe die slower. I could feel the eyes on me. Predators I could not name. Insects, birds, beasts, the jungle itself. Patient, hungry. In my fevered sleep, I returned home. I smelled fresh bread, felt warm bedsheets, heard my mother's humming from the kitchen. I woke with mud in my mouth and blood in my nails. Rain fell for days. It filled my ears. It blurred the sky. The jungle became an endless, dripping nightmare. I drank from puddles and wondered if I was drinking the sky itself. Once, I stepped wrong. The ground gave way, swallowing me to my chest. Mud gripped me like 1,000 hands. I screamed. No one answered. I fought until my muscles tore. And somehow, I tore free. There was no more thinking, only eating, only breathing, only moving forward like a dying animal desperate for a final place to fall. Mosquitoes became my companions. They lived in my wounds, buzzed in my ears, fed off my body like the jungle itself, slowly, methodically consuming me. There came a day when the jungle fell utterly silent. No birds, no insects, only the sound of my own ragged breath. The silence screamed louder than any storm. I saw Marcus. I saw Kevin. I saw Carl, reaching for me from behind the trees. I chased them until my legs gave out, until my heart became a drum in a war I had already lost. I fell beside a gnarled root and could not rise. The world spun, colors bled into darkness. I surrendered not out of choice, but because even surrender required strength I no longer had. Or perhaps it was just the fever, but I thought I heard footsteps, real, human footsteps. For a moment, hope flared. For a moment, I was a child again, running toward voices calling me home. The rain washed over me again, cold, indifferent, cleansing me like a final baptism. If I was to die here, I would die clean. Death did not roar. It whispered. It crouched beside me, silent and patient. And I almost welcomed it with open arms. Then, through the fog of dying senses, a sound that did not belong. A low hum, mechanical, alien. Hope. That terrible, traitorous feeling stirred, summoning the last splinter of my soul. I screamed until the scream became something not human, something older, something the jungle could not ignore. Maybe someone heard. Maybe the jungle swallowed my scream whole, tucking it away between its roots and rivers, never to be found. I drifted in and out of consciousness, sometimes awake, sometimes dreaming, sometimes somewhere in between, where the sky touched the earth and nothing made sense anymore. The trees shifted around me, their branches weaving faces I almost recognized. Were they friends, foes, or just another trick of a mind unspooling itself? The next rain tasted wrong. It tasted like ash, like endings, like smoke from a fire that had already consumed everything it was ever meant to protect. The river laughed at me. Its muddy waters gurgled like a throat full of dark humor. I laughed back. What else could I do? When hope and despair are twins, you laugh at everything. There came a moment when breath itself betrayed me, when pulling in air felt like dragging knives into my chest. I welcomed the stillness that followed, welcomed it, almost. In my final waking dream, I saw a hand reaching through the mist, a hand of flesh, or a hand of smoke. It didn't matter anymore. I reached back. Maybe someone found me. Maybe no one did. Maybe I became part of the jungle, another secret tangled in its vines and silence. The jungle never tells. It only keeps what it takes.